My parents pushed me to lose weight so I'd look presentable for my sister's wedding. But now that I outshine the bride, they're demanding I return to my old appearance. My parents pressured me to lose weight so I'd look presentable for my sister Brittany's wedding. But now that I outshine the bride, they're asking me to go back to my previous appearance. I've been the fat girl for as long as I can remember. From my early days in kindergarten, my size set me apart from the other kids. As I got older, it became even more obvious. By the time I entered middle school, there was no denying I was overweight, and it was a constant source of pain for me. Things didn't improve in college. Being the biggest person in the room made me a target for bullying and cruel comments. The teasing was relentless, and I felt like I couldn't escape it. My classmates called me names, made mean jokes, and excluded me from games, parties, and social gatherings. To cope, I turned to books. They became my escape from a reality where I was judged, mocked, and dismissed. In books, I could find solace, adventure, and acceptance. I earned the nickname Nerd, which honestly didn't bother me as much as you might think. Compared to everything else, it felt like a small price to pay. Then there was Brittany, my younger sister, who was my complete opposite. Just a year younger than me, Brittany was born with a natural charm that drew people to her effortlessly. She was like the sun, and everyone seemed to orbit around her. Despite our differences, I adored Brittany. I took my role as the big sister seriously and felt a strong instinct to protect her. When Brittany joined me in middle school, I was excited for us to share that part of our lives. But as time went on, things began to change. Brittany started to notice the differences between us and how others treated us. While I was the shy, introverted bookworm, Brittany fit in perfectly with the popular kids. Slowly, she began to distance herself from me. At first, it hurt, but when she started joining in with the others to humiliate me, the pain became unbearable. In high school, Brittany and her friends took every opportunity to mock me. If they crossed paths in the hallway or cafeteria, they'd make cruel jokes, or worse, try to trip me while I was carrying my lunch tray. At home, it wasn't much better. Her friends would invade my room without permission, laugh at my body, and throw around insults like fat cow and nerd. I tried talking to my parents about how much Brittany's behavior hurt me, but they brushed it off. They said she was just being playful, and that I shouldn't take it so seriously. Their lack of support only deepened my loneliness. The only time I felt like they acknowledged me was when it came to my academics. I excelled in school, and that became my way of standing out. My parents loved bragging about my grades as if they were proof of their parenting success, but this only fueled Brittany's resentment toward me. She hated the comparisons, and sometimes she took it out on me by sabotaging my schoolwork. Years later, Brittany admitted during a drunken confession that she had stolen my homework and ruined my projects out of spite. By then, though, I had already moved on physically and emotionally, putting distance between us after college. Even as adults, our relationship never fully recovered. It's soft and sure, but we never built the deep bond many sisters share. I started a new life in another city, and we only communicated occasionally through messages or calls. Last summer, I decided to visit my family for the first time in a while. I was excited to reconnect, but things quickly took a turn. During a family lunch, Brittany announced that she was engaged. No one had known beforehand, not even my parents. To prove it, she showed off a stunning engagement ring. As the congratulations began to fade, Brittany turned to me and asked, "So, what have you been up to lately?" I started talking about my work, my life, and how fulfilling everything had been for me. Before I could finish, Brittany interrupted, saying loudly enough for others to hear, "I just have to ask, why are you still fat? I mean, if your life is so great, shouldn't you have lost weight by now?" The room fell silent. Her words hung in the air, sharp and humiliating. I tried to shrug it off with an awkward laugh, but then my parents joined in. They started expressing concern about my weight and the fact that I was still single. They even mentioned being worried that I might never have children. I was proud of everything I'd accomplished, but to them, none of it mattered. My weight and lack of a family were all they could see. As my parents and Brittany kept talking about me, their comments stung far more than I expected. For years, I had worked hard to build my confidence and independence. But in that moment, I felt like the insecure, awkward teenager I used to be. My parents praised Brittany for getting engaged before me and went on about how proud they were of her. Somehow, despite all my achievements, I was the lesser daughter, successful, but not in the ways they deemed important. Brittany didn't stop there. She turned to me with a mocking tone and asked, "So, are you getting married? I mean, Do you even have a boyfriend?" It was clear she was trying to embarrass me in front of everyone. My parents chimed in, agreeing that it was time for me to find someone before it was too late. They pointed out that Brittany, despite being younger, was settling down, while I was wasting my life on my job. I tried to defend myself, explaining that I was living my life the way I wanted. I told them I'd found fulfillment in my career and independence. My work is rewarding, paid well, and gave me purpose. Why do I need to find a man or have a child to be happy? I'm content with my life as it is, I said firmly. But my mom, in a sarcastic tone, replied, "What's the point of making all that money if you have no one to come home to?" It was as if they couldn't comprehend that happiness could exist outside of marriage and children. Brittany then added, "I just hope you have a date for my wedding. I don't want people thinking my sister is some miserable old woman sitting alone while I'm getting married." That's when my parents outright told me that, with almost a year until Brittany's wedding, I should at least try to lose weight to look presentable. Even if I couldn't find a partner, they said losing weight might make it easier for me to attract someone. Brittany agreed, saying I should lose a few pounds for the occasion. How could a family speak to someone this way? Did I really deserve their cruel words just because of my weight? Did they think I wasn't supposed to have feelings because I was fat? I mean, I'm a normal person, just like them. I've never seen my weight as a barrier, so why did they? Even worse, they acted like my weight was the reason I was single, as if no man could love me as I was. That simply wasn't true. I had dated men who appreciated me for who I am, but my parents and Brittany made it seem like my weight was an insurmountable obstacle to finding love. It hurt deeply how casually they could discuss my biggest insecurities without caring how it made me feel. I stayed quiet, swallowing my pain as the conversation eventually shifted to another topic. After that visit, when I returned home, I was overwhelmed with emotions. But instead of letting the pain consume me, I channeled it into determination. I decided to lose weight, not for them, but for myself. At first, it was about proving them wrong, but over time it became more personal. I joined a gym, followed a strict diet, and even hired a personal trainer, Michelle. Michelle, who had gone through her own weight loss journey, was incredibly supportive. She created a plan tailored to my goals and guided me every step of the way. This time, everything seemed to click. I started losing weight steadily, and as the pounds dropped, I felt lighter, not just physically, but emotionally. For the first time in my life, I began to feel and see myself differently. My confidence skyrocketed. I used to think losing weight wouldn't make a huge difference, but it has. People treat me differently now. Strangers are kinder and more attentive, and my friends and colleagues regard me with newfound respect. I won't lie, it feels validating in a way I never expected. It's like I've suddenly become visible to the world in a way I never was before. I even changed the way I dress, revamping my entire wardrobe with clothes I never thought I'd be able to wear. I got a bold new hairstyle that complements my features perfectly. For the first time, I look in the mirror and feel beautiful, confident, and like a version of myself I didn't know could exist. Now, with Brittany's wedding just 2 weeks away, my family has asked me to fly home for a lunch next week to finalize wedding plans, but I don't feel like going. I don't want to face my family and risk being ridiculed again, especially now when I finally feel good about myself. I don't even want to attend Brittany's wedding after how she and my parents have treated me, so I'm left wondering, would I be the bad person if I skip my sister's wedding? Update 1. I'm overwhelmed by everyone's responses. Some of your suggestions are hilarious. I can't believe so many of you are encouraging me to show up and upstage my sister now that I've lost all this weight. Growing up as the fat girl seriously affected my self-esteem, especially how I saw myself. For years, I struggled with self-doubt, always feeling like I wasn't good enough. But reading your comments has been eye-opening. It's like you've helped me see myself in a completely new light. And for the first time, I feel more confident than ever. In fact, I'm now seriously considering attending the family lunch to surprise everyone. They haven't seen me in ages, and since I'm not on social media, they have no idea about my weight loss. It'll be interesting to see their reactions. Update 2. This update is going to be good. Grab some popcorn because things are about to get interesting. I decided to fly out to attend the family lunch. As I mentioned before, I thought seeing me would make them proud of the transformation I had achieved. After all, they were the ones who initially pushed me toward this change. Surely they'd be excited to see the positive changes in me and finally acknowledge all the hard work I had put in. The moment I walked through the door of my parents' house, their jaws literally dropped. They looked at me in shock, as if they couldn't believe I was the same person. After a few seconds, they stammered, asking if it was really me. I simply thanked them for the compliment. They showered me with praise, telling me how incredible I looked and how they couldn't believe it was really me. But when Brittany arrived, things took a different turn. At first, she didn't even recognize me. When I stood up to greet her, she did a double take, her eyes wide with surprise. Then she let out a strange, almost forced laugh before walking over and pressing her fingers into my stomach as if she needed proof that I had actually lost all that weight. My parents laughed at her reaction and told her they couldn't believe it at first either. When we sat down for lunch, the conversation revolved around my transformation. Brittany and my parents bombarded me with questions about how I had achieved it, still surprised to see the results. It seemed like they couldn't fully believe it, as though they doubted it was real. Brittany, in particular, kept repeating how she never expected me to change so drastically. After losing weight, she commented, "When I told you to lose weight, I never imagined you'd look this good. I didn't even know you had that jawline and those ankles under all that fat." I paused, trying to keep my composure, and smiled before replying, "Brittany, I've always been beautiful. Losing weight just enhanced my features." However, Brittany insisted it wasn't just that, and said there was something truly different about me now. Then she had the audacity to ask, "Did you get surgery? There's no way you look this good on your own." I felt my blood start to boil. Not everyone takes the easy route like she does. I worked incredibly hard, just like I did to achieve my academic merits and my job. But to her, it was impossible because she'd never put in that kind of effort in her life. I looked her straight in the eyes and said, "Well, Brittany, it's amazing you think so little of me. No, there was no surgery, just hard work and self-love, something you might want to try someday." Brittany's expression shifted from surprise to irritation, but I didn't care. It felt good to finally speak up and put her in her place. Before she could respond, my parents stepped in, trying to smooth things over. "You shouldn't be offended," my mom said. "It's just that none of us have ever seen you like this before. Honestly, you look even more beautiful than Brittany now, and she's the one getting married." Brittany looked even angrier after my mom's comment. I ignored her and focused on my lunch, letting my sister stew in her annoyance. Then my mom added, "You know, I was thinking maybe you should go back to your natural hair color. I think you'd look even better with your original tone. This blonde look makes you stand out too much. You should go back to how you were before." My dad immediately agreed with her. My dad chimed in, saying Brittany had always been the blonde daughter in the family, and I the brunette. He suggested I return to my natural color to look more like myself. The truth was, my stylist had recommended the blonde color because it complemented my skin tone and face better. It had nothing to do with trying to stand out or upstage my sister. I could understand why Brittany was jealous of me now that I looked good, but I couldn't understand why my parents seemed so unhappy with me. It was as if they wanted me to go back to who I was before, when they were the ones who wanted me to look more presentable for their beloved daughter's wedding in the first place. I remembered how they had pushed me to lose weight because they were embarrassed. Now that I had achieved it, they just couldn't accept the person I had become. Instead of celebrating my growth, they were looking for reasons to make me revert to my old self. Finally, I asked them, "What's your problem? Why can't I be blonde too? Does my sister own that color?" I paused, waiting for a coherent response. But when they had nothing to say, I continued, "No, she doesn't. I can be blonde or brunette. It's my choice. Why does it matter so much to you?" I couldn't understand why they were so obsessed with making me return to my old appearance, as if my looks had to match who I was in the past. My mom argued that I was sabotaging Brittany's wedding by trying to stand out with my appearance. Brittany chimed in, saying my weight loss was already going to draw attention, so I really didn't need to steal her hair color too. My dad, as always, sided with them, telling me to stop making things harder and agree to be a less flashy version of myself for the wedding. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This wasn't about taking anything away from anyone. It was about having the freedom to choose what made me feel good, but instead of supporting that, they were all focused on how it might make Brittany feel uncomfortable. "You know what? I'm done," I said. "All three of you are so trapped in your own negativity that you can't even accept that I've changed. The truth is, I've always been amazing, just as I am, but none of you ever saw it. Now that I've lost weight, it's still not enough for you. No matter what I do, it's never enough." I decided to give them a taste of their own medicine. I turned to my mom first. "Mom, I really hate how loose the skin around your eyes is, and your lips droop on one side when you laugh. I can't help but notice all your crooked teeth. It's honestly disgusting. You should really do something about it before all your rotten teeth fall out." Then I turned to my dad. "Dad, you have no right to comment on anyone's hair color or appearance when you can't even keep a full head of hair. That gut of yours has grown so much over the years, especially this year. You've really outdone yourself. Have you been on a diet to grow it even bigger? Maybe you should check with a doctor to see if you're pregnant. Since you're always siding with Mom and Brittany, it might not be impossible biologically." They tried to protest, but I wasn't finished. Finally, I faced Brittany, saving the best for last. "And you, Brittany, don't ever belittle me again. Between the two of us, I've always been the prettier sister. Now that I've lost weight, you look even bigger than I ever did. Just look at those chubby arms of yours. I don't think there's enough time before the wedding to shed that extra weight, even if you starved yourself. And sure, you're a year younger, but all those late nights partying have taken a toll on you. Look at those dark circles. You look like a tired raccoon. Plus, all that sunbathing hasn't done you any favors. Your skin is wrinkled and rough. The saddest part is, you'll never be as smart as me. You could spend your whole life trying, but you're just a brute, and that doesn't go away easily. I worry about what you'll do when your husband leaves you for a younger, dumber blonde, and you have no way to survive." Brittany's face turned bright red with embarrassment, which probably didn't help her skin, and she looked like she was about to cry. I raised my glass, finished my drink in one gulp, and gave them all a mocking smile before leaving. I couldn't believe those words had come out of my mouth, but I didn't regret a single one. Well, maybe a little. I could think of even more things to say to them now, but I won't waste my time. After years of being their punching bag, they deserved every bit of it. After that lunch, I flew straight home and decided not to attend Brittany's wedding. Since then, my phone hasn't stopped ringing with voicemails and texts from my parents and Brittany calling me rude and disrespectful for the way I spoke to them and for leaving. My mom even insists I should fly back and attend the wedding, saying it won't look good to Brittany's in-laws if I'm not there. Well, too bad. Update 3. Everyone kept insisting I should attend the wedding anyway because it was the perfect opportunity for people to see how I looked now. I took their advice and decided to go, but only on the day of the event. I didn't tell my parents, and I certainly didn't want Brittany to know. Consider it a little surprise gift. At this point, I don't care if it seems petty. I wanted to have fun at a wedding and get my revenge, both of which I accomplished. Plus, there was an unexpected bonus, but let's start with their reactions. When I arrived, my parents looked shocked. They asked what I was doing there since they thought I wasn't going to attend. I told them I was there to enjoy the wedding. My mom said that was fine, but insisted I was overdressed and should remove some accessories. When she reached out to take them off herself, I slapped her hand away and warned her not to touch me again. I reminded her that the gym didn't just help me lose weight, it made me stronger. I jokingly added that she wouldn't want to find out how hard I could hit. After that, I mingled with the guests, catching up with people I hadn't seen in years. Unlike my parents, they were genuinely happy for me and complimented me on my transformation. I also met Brittany's fiancé, Chad, for the first time. I congratulated him on his wedding, though I wasn't exactly sincere. Marrying my sister isn't something I'd consider worth celebrating. He didn't seem like a great catch either. He made a slightly inappropriate comment, saying he didn't know Brittany had such a beautiful sister, and that if he had, maybe things would have been different. I brushed it off as a bad joke, though it left me uncomfortable. I just said good luck and moved on to speak with other guests. During the ceremony, Brittany still didn't realize I was there, but at the reception, she spotted me. She stormed over, her face as red as a tomato, which only stood out more against her white dress. "I see you decided to show up at my wedding," she hissed. "I hope you leave some food for the rest of us." I laughed it off. It was obvious she was jealous, very jealous. The reception itself was enjoyable. I danced with some of the men, caught up with relatives, and genuinely had a good time, like any guest at a party. But then her husband, Chad, approached me again, this time making an even more inappropriate comment. He said, "I know you and your sister don't get along, so maybe this can be our little secret." His words were slurred, but it was clear he was trying to hit on me on his wedding day. I gave him a disgusted look and walked away. Brittany has always had terrible taste in men. She's been cheated on a couple of times, but this was a new low. I didn't feel bad for her. This guy was truly repulsive. After that, I flew back home and haven't heard much from my parents or Brittany. We avoided each other during the reception, and I'm glad I made my point. One thing is certain, I won't be attending her next wedding, and believe me, there will be another one, because this marriage isn't going to last. Update 4. In my last post, many of you made bets on how long the marriage would last. Well, the winner is whoever guessed 7 months. Honestly, I lost 2 because I thought it would fall apart much sooner, but it took that long for Brittany's husband, Chad, to cheat on her and for her to finally find out. It might have been earlier, but let's face it, my sister has never been the sharpest tool in the shed. As I predicted, she couldn't handle being on her own. She's now living with my parents again. The only difference is, she's even more wrinkled and clueless than before, desperately searching for a new man willing to marry her.